it's gotten to the point now there's no power in this lineup whatsoever, none. I don't know how they do anything other than try to manufacture runs, do whatever, but they leave guys on base all the time. Reynolds got a leadoff double one part of this game. They couldn't move him at all. I mean, just basic stuff doesn't even happen.
Yeah, after Adam Frazier and Brian Reynolds, I don't see a lot of major league hitters, Bob. I think they've got two in a nine-batter lineup with the pitcher, of course, at the tail end of things. You know, those are the only two guys, really. Kevin Newman, one-hit wonder back in 2019. Has done very little in the minor leagues or even at the major league level outside of that 1 year to suggest that he can be an everyday shortstop. Eric Gonzalez has always been a utility man. Their outfield, Ben Gamble, are you kidding me? You know, he's probably a AAA player. We know Polanco's the most overpaid outfielder probably in the big leagues at $11 million. Everybody raves about Stallings, but he's a defensive player and not a hitter, in my estimation. So, yeah, it's really bad. When you're an opposing pitcher and there are only two guys that can really make you pay, Frazier and Reynolds, and let's be honest, they're singles and doubles hitters, not home run hitters, it's easy to make your way through this lineup. It's really a miracle that they got back over 500, Bob, isn't it?
Yeah, and ever since then, they've gone the other way now. So they've lost, you know, what are they, 2-12 in their last 14? Whatever it is, it's not good. All right, well, let's talk some hockey here. We're going to go to the lines, Andrew. We got Steve in Castle Shannon. He has an interesting question. Go ahead, Steve. Welcome.
Hey,
hi, Steve.
You know, I don't know a lot about coaching, but I can just try to go by the results. You know, 2 years ago, Trotz was coaching for the Islanders and we got swept. The year before that, he was with the Capitals and they beat us in 6. The year before that, we did beat the Capitals with Trotz and against Sullivan, but that was the series in which Fleury played really well. And I thought the Capitals pretty much outshot and outplayed us, even though we won. So, and I also, one other thing about Trotz is that, and this isn't so much a knock at Sullivan, but, you know, you look at how well the Islanders played in the playoffs last year. They were the loaded-seeded team. They beat the Panthers, the Flyers, and they played Tampa tough. They won a couple games and lost some in overtime. So I'm just a little bit concerned about, you know, how good of a coach he is.
Well, he's a very good coach. There's no question about that. And I didn't understand why Washington wouldn't want to keep him there when they had a chance to, Andrew. But, yeah, they play that style. They play it very well. They know how to play it. They frustrate people. They don't change necessarily what they do. But I think to your point earlier today when you joined me at 4 o'clock on the news here that you said the Penguins have been a business-like team on the road, and they have been.
Yeah, and Trotz really is doing what his boss wants him to do. I mean, that's Lou Lamoriello to a T, where it's that old Devils system where you get a lead and then you pack it in, and you do everything you can to preserve that lead. And if you fall behind in a game, you know, maybe if you're down 1-0, it's not a big deal. But if you get down 2 goals, it's a different story. And really, that's what this series boils down to, in my opinion. You know, how often can the Penguins do a few things? Get a lead and force the Islanders to go outside of their comfort zone. And then the other thing is when the Penguins fall behind in a game, even when the Islanders play their system, do the Penguins have the offensive skill and depth to still score goals? And honestly, they should, Bob. I mean, even when the Islanders go up 1-0 and get into that trap style and say, you know, let's not try to make it 2-0. Let's try to put our foot on the brake and not the gas and win. The Penguins should still have the personnel to score in those situations and not get frustrated and not kind of get away from how they want to play and try to do too much. You know, that's really 2 years ago, they did too much of that.
Right, and
they freaked out, they panicked.
Come from behind team this year. I don't think they change a lot. I think they've been patient that way. But I also think, to your point, if you're going to do this, your special teams have got to be terrific because you're going to get chances. You may not get as many as you would in a normal NHL regular season game, but there are going to be penalty opportunities that you can take advantage of. And when that happens, you got to take advantage of it. They have too much firepower, which leads to this. Colonel Slade on Twitter at KD Pump. He says, any objection to putting Carter on the first power play unit with his penchant for scoring goals in front of the net like Kevin Stevens have passed? He's not necessarily Kevin Stevens, but the point is they want him in front, maybe what Patrick Hornqvist used to deliver. Do they do that? Because I think Jarrett McCann deserves more of a chance in front on that top unit if I'm going to change anything, but I don't think they will.
No, I think they'll stay with Gensel as the net front presence, and he's not the big body that Hornqvist was, but he's got the moxie, he's got the courage to go to those areas. And I think they reward him for what he does 5-on-5 with those opportunities, which isn't necessarily the way it should go, but it's the way I think the Penguins will do it. Their power play did surge and did come on down the stretch, even with Malkin out there and McCann playing mostly with the second power play unit. Now, the thing about the Islanders is when you play them, it's mostly 5-on-5, Bob. They don't take a lot of penalties. They don't draw a lot of penalties. It's a lot of even strength hockey. So the Penguins should be prepared for that. And you know what? They should welcome that, because they should look at their roster and their team and say, we're better than the Islanders, and we'll beat you straight up. They should do that. Really, this series should not come down to special teams. It should come down to the Penguins being, from top to bottom, a better team than the Islanders. And if it doesn't happen that way, well, then they've beat themselves again, and changes should get made this offseason.
All right, let's go to Nunzio before we go to a break. Nunzio, welcome to Sports Call. Go ahead.
Hey,
Hey,
Bob,
man.
what's up, guys?
Go ahead, Nuns.
Hey, you brought some bad flashbacks about the 75, 76 Pens. I happened to be transferred to a store in New Jersey. I was a store manager for Woolworths. And, man, I was crowing like a crow when we were up 3-0. And, boy, did them boys never let me have it at the end, I'll tell you that. That was a great time, though. And I think we should get the broom out this year for the Pens. I like them sweeping these bums.
They're not bums, but I do think they owe them something. And again, you got to be patient with this team. You know, I could see them splitting the first couple and going to New York, and then the Penguins may be in their comfort zone on the road because they've done a pretty good job in these types of games away from PPG Paints Arena, even though I'd like home ice advantage. We're due for a break. We'll take it, Andrew. Come back with more calls. It's 412-575-2600. Call us. We'll put you on the air live right here on Pittsburgh CW.